Good evening, everybody. Coming to you live on location tonight from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. As always, I'm Dan Tartaglione. Joining me tonight is the illustrious Matt Lutz, also known as CRG.
Hello.
And tonight we have a special guest, a fan favorite, a Holotheatre favorite, and Mr. Taco himself, Bill Kafer. How are you guys doing tonight?
Dan, how are you?
I cannot complain. It's been a crazy week, but again, I can't complain. Trying to do this as best as I can on a Wednesday, so let's see what happens.
No.
So,
Well, I woke up with snow on the ground this morning, so welcome to
well,
Minnesota in
that's not
April.
fun. You know what? I'll take snow right now over house hunting.
There you go.
Yeah,
I'm never moving again, so I don't envy
lucky.
your what you're dealing with.
Oh, it's a joy in a seller's market right now. It's not fun. So,
Yeah.
but that's we're not going to talk about me tonight. No, we have something better to talk about. Is that correct?
Oh,
We
I'm
got
sorry. I thought this was the Find a House for Dan episode.
Well, I mean, if you want to find me a house, I would gladly take that. But instead, we're going to talk
No,
about a
of
little
course
something.
not.
We're going to talk a little bit of something called the MPC. For those who don't know, the MPC is the Match Play Championship. Bill, let's go into a little bit of depth into the MPC really quick. Let's start like a little bit of the history, if you don't mind.
The MPC was a brainchild of myself and Greg Shaw during an 8-hour drive home from, I believe, Gen Con in 2004, 2005, something like that.
Hmm.
Um, really, and I will admit this fully, I was just jealous that Greg was playing all of these top eights and getting to play match play, and I never did. So what we dreamed up was an event where everybody got to play match play and get that experience where like somebody that might not ever make
Hmm.
a top eight is going to be able to try that
So,
out, that format
so
out.
here's my question: instead of just making an event, why didn't you just get good?
Ooh,
You
ooh.
know, I tried for several years. It happened last year. Finally, I got
Yeah,
okay. So maybe this year we'll do a little better.
I'm hoping. But yeah, I mean, the MPC's been going on for now 15 years. Who those who follow Twitter will notice that James Martin, Solid Snack, has been posting some of the highlights over the last 15 years. Can somebody really quickly tell me who won the first MPC?
Are you asking me or are you asking chat?
I'm asking anybody. I want to see off the top of their head if anybody can name the first MPC winner.
You know, he put that on the Twitter the other day.
He
Just a little
did.
He
plug for
I've
did.
been I've been learning the history of this event
He
since
did. That's
I've
why I
been
asked you.
following
relearning
it.
for this event. I would say Reed Smith won the first one, but that's probably not right.
No, that is right. Reed Smith
All
won the
right.
first one.
There we go.
Reed
Reed, one
Smith
of the
was the
most
first winner.
prolific MPC players.
Yeah, but he's still missing that one championship.
Yeah, well, you
It's
know,
eluded
he'll get the
him,
Grand
and
Slam eventually.
it's eluded him, and he's only won. He came in second three times. So I mean, he's the Dan Marino of the Star Wars CCG world. Who knows? But no,
And Marino from Pittsburgh.
yeah, exactly. There's a
There you
connection there.
go.
So, but no, we're gonna talk. We're gonna tonight's show is actually going to be the bracket reveal. So, who worked on this bracket, Bill?
So this year we were a little lighter, just myself and Chris Goblin. I did send it to a couple people, including Matt, just to give myself a little sanity check once we thought we had a final bracket, and you as well, Dan, just to make sure I didn't have any kind of glaring errors that, or things that you saw out of place, or maybe teams that I had missed, or something like that. So
Hmm.
really a little lighter crew this year.
And that's fair. I mean, you play in it, Chris plays in it, Greg plays in it. Is that fair to the people that the people who present the bracket or make the bracket play in the tournament?
I mean, this is our tournament. You guys are just joining it.
No, I think
Exactly.
that sanity check helps.
It
And
does.
Bill put up the call to um, people to submit ideas, bad, good, indifferent, whatever. And I started to make a list of copied all the 52 players who were in it and tried to organize them, and quickly
Hmm.
kind of gave up. You guys got a
It's
hard
hard.
job,
It's hard.
right?
Like
It's hard.
Bat Mouse with his MPC, uh, that one was hard, and not only because I mean there's Gent players, there's real life players, and also you're working with that mouse, but that's another story.
That's a different problem entirely. And we're
Oh,
coming off
yes.
one of the years where I think that we got it the most wrong when we had several 6 seeds advance to, I think, the final 8 and final 4. And Jared was the runner-up. Jared came out of the 6 seed. So
Yeah.
That's
And
okay.
again, it's a hard because again, online is different from in person. In person, you can just set it up according to like stats and everything. But again, because we're online this year, you had to work on time zones. And
absolutely. And that's one of the things I want to stress right off the bat here is that one of the things we tried to do is get everybody the times that they preferred if they sent in preferred times. So I think we accomplished that goal mostly. I think um, of the people that sent me times, I think only one couldn't make it work,
mhm,
but they got their first choice for one of the things, and if they advance, they will have their second choice for the second one.
that's
But yeah,
fair.
so we wanted to prioritize teams and times over getting 1 to 52 exactly correct.
Right.
Yeah, and that's fair. And I think everybody who is watching tonight and who's going to look at the bracket tonight, tomorrow, and so on, being that again, if you remember that we're working with time zones, we're working with a bunch of teams and everything, they'll understand that maybe you're not in the highest seed that you think you should be, but you're still playing. I mean, as we learned from the MPC, anything can happen. I mean, a nine or an 8 seed could upset last year's winner.
There
Just
you
That
saying.
go.
happened, I think.
That did happen. That did happen. So, but you know what? I think everybody is. Do you think everybody's ready for this? Because I know I am.
There you go.
Do it.
So, really quick, just so everybody realizes, I actually have some black bars to put on the screen so that we have a little bit of a surprise to the bracket themselves. I'm going to put those up right now, and they're going to cover most of our like the screen and everything. So don't get alarmed. This is just for the surprise factor. Hopefully, again, I am on a laptop with limited RAM, so hopefully my computer doesn't crash.
See some bars coming up.
Yeah, like I said, it might take a few. So, Bill, while I'm doing this, uh, and I will ask this one favor. If you guys cannot show that you subscribed tonight because of the fact that I'm a little bit limited, I'm not hardlined in, I'm on a laptop versus a desktop. If you guys could just keep it, just as clean as we can tonight, just for tonight, that would be a great big help to me.
Still subscribe, just don't show it off.
Right. Don't shut off
Exactly.
today.
I'm
There you
be
go.
more than willing to have you guys show it off next week because next week I'll be back in California
There you go.
just for a little while, I hope.
I think the bracket you're starting with is going to be the West bracket, correct?
Yes, so this
Which
is
you
going to be
call the
the
West
Yeah.
bracket.
yes, this is our West bracket, and the reason so once we have this all these bars up, again, it's going to take a little bit of time just because I got to make sure I click them all.
My face is slowly getting
Same
covered,
here,
and
man.
Matt has
Well, I
things right
see
next to
one
him.
that's missing, so I don't know if I forgot one or I will say before I started, yeah, there's supposed to be one above. But you know what? We're going to talk about this person first, so I'll show them up. So, Bill, who's the number one seed out of the West bracket?
So number one seed out of the West bracket is actually the number one overall seed and your current reigning world champion. That's Mr. Joe Olson.
No surprise that he's number one overall.
No, I agree. Okay, so the bar is up. So I
Telling me he
did.
likes the beard and the mustache? Great.
Oh, no, that's not it.
I think you did it. That looks right.
No, it's the right bracket, but again with the bar. Oh, there we go. There it is. So yeah, our number one seed is the our current world champ. So why
Yeah, and so
is
because we had 52 people, sorry. because we had 52 people, the top 3 seeds in each region are going to get a bye into the second round. So you'll see that that's why that they're already advanced there, the 1, 8, and 9 overall. Goglin is seeing through your ruse. Joe Olson, obviously coming off the World Championship where he lost, what, 1 game over the entire weekend, I think? 2 weekends.
I honestly couldn't remember. Like, I was too busy doing commentary and focusing on the different games. I know I don't think I think he won both games against Kieran, but after that, I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, I think he said he lost only 1 game on the weekend. He had advanced to the top 4, I believe, of the Texas Mini Worlds. He was number 9 overall at the Endor Grand Prix last year. He qualified for the OCS last year, I believe. Yeah, really just no reason why he shouldn't be number 1.
Well, I mean, he did lose in the top 8 for the MPC.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to
mean,
lie to you. We put some stock into the MPC, but I tend to focus, and I think Chris as well, tend to focus on the official PC events as kind of our barometer. That's not to say we didn't take the MPC into account. I think you'll see that fairly soon here.
I would hope so. Because, like, I'm going to say this, like, I know Joe was having fun with his Watch Your Step deck, but he still lost. But
yeah,
I'm just teasing Joe. Yeah, after what the year you had last year and stuff, there's no reason for you not to be the number 1 seed. So, but moving on, let's go into our number 2 seed really quick. Are you ready?
There you go, number 2 seed.
Yeah,
okay, so number 2 seed here.
In the West bracket will be JG, Mr. Jared Kosker himself.
So Jared coming off of a runner-up last year that gave him a little bump in this event. Had a pretty solid year last year, made day 2 of Worlds. Really, the biggest thing that brought him to number 2, right? So I think there were, in my opinion, 7 people in contention for number 1 seeds, and then Jared was one of the next group to me. I think he got a little bit of a bump because he finished second last year.
And that's completely understandable. I mean, Jared did have a really good year last year. He's always seems like he's in contention in a lot of events. I know he didn't. I want to say I know he didn't do. Well, I don't think he made it into the OCS, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
No, he did not.
Okay, but yeah, making it to
made it 2 Worlds last year. He's
a
solid player.
So and of course, I mean, how can you go against Jared right now?
Also top 16 at Texas Mini Worlds as well, so very good year.
I mean, who didn't make the top 16?
Yeah. I mean, you got 3 people here that did that probably shouldn't have.
Hey now.
Well, I mean, I can agree with one of those. Okay. So let's talk about our
number 3.
Already
been teased.
Is wait, why aren't you working? Oh, I clicked on the wrong one. I'm sorry. Oh god, this computer.
Maybe we can do without the black bars for the rest of them.
There we go.
Probably need to.
Yeah, I agree.
So number 3 in the West region is Charlie Arlinson, another guy who had a very good year as well. I want to say he was just outside the top 8 at Endor. He looks like 10 or 11
he was
there.
Really close. I will say this. After his, I know he was on a game. He went on stream against me. It went to time, and after him eking out that win, he deserved a good finish at Endor last year. So, and Charlie's he's a really good player. So, I see no reason for him not to.
Nope.
Yeah, he also ended up pretty close to top 8 at Worlds. He was 14th overall. I think he was right in that group of the run of new allies there, where we finished 11, 12, 13, 14.
Wait, Charlie's on the new allies too?
It's the creator of the 5D6 deck.
Yeah, Charlie, the
Wow.
captain of the. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn here, but the captain of the New Allies West entry for this tournament.
Oh, well,
Probably fair.
what? Like at this point, though, I mean, I'm wondering really who is not on the new allies.
That's a fair question. There's about 30, 40 people in this tournament that aren't. So
Yeah, I know
That's fair.
I know 2/3 of the this Holotheatre are on the new allies.
Different regions though. We got split up for that.
yeah,
That's fair.
I mean, you can see right here in this this one little quadrant by itself, there's 4 of us. So
Yeah,
clearly
and that's true. So
representing.
let's talk about our number 4 seed.
Yeah, so the 4 seed, I will bring up the bracket here. My bracket. So
Should
4
be
seed
Chris
overall
Hall.
in this bracket is going to be Chris Hall. You may know him as Joker King or King of Jokers, as he is in the chat currently. Coming off of, he won the MPC, right?
He
He
did win the
did.
NPC.
I believe he
MPC.
won it over Timo Bissell.
He did.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, like I said, we're not going to totally ignore what happened in the MPC, but
Mm-hmm.
Joker King definitely a very good player. I believe he missed out on day 2 of Worlds this year, but he has finished very highly in the OCS. He's already this year. He's doing very well in the OCS.
And that's
I
true.
think
You know,
15 and 6 already. So
Yep.
he's been playing a lot on Gemp. He's been playing it really well. So him getting a 4 seed in this tournament just shows all the effort that he's been putting in with playing on Gemp.
Yep.
But moving on to number 5. Number 5, I feel is seated a little too
high.
low. I don't know. Like, I mean,
Good that you
the
guys
guy-
disagree
I
on
mean,
that.
He did play. He did place in the top 8 at the last major that was being played in live events. He did come into the top 8 at the Texas Mini Worlds. And did he make day 2 at Worlds?
He did.
There you
Well,
go.
there you go. So a 5 seems fair for Mr. Bill Kafer.
I think so.
Yeah. I was telling a story the other day. The last time I was a 5 seed in the MPC was 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Lost to some Jared Konsker minion playing, I think it was Walkers, and just haven't lived it down since. And he has that minion has gone on to become the design advocate and is the number 1 seed in his bracket. Spoiler.
There you
Well,
go.
spoiler. Okay, that's
Yeah.
fair.
The 12/5 upset.
So that
Okay,
sets up an
I
interesting
finished.
match, Bill, with you and Joker King. If assuming both of you advance into round
Yeah.
number 2.
Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting. We were matched up in the MPC last year as well.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up not being able to play, so that didn't work out. But
I blame the Air Force for that.
it'll happen.
All right.
Yeah.
Who's next, gentlemen?
So the next
Number
player
6.
will be number 6, who, according to my stats, is one Pat Johnson.
Yeah, you're correct. I mean, Pat has had a good run in NPCs past. Did he either finished first or second in the consolation event last year, I believe, right?
I think you're right on that.
He finished first by beating some scrub named DTartagOne.
There you go.
So, yeah, he did finish first in
This
the constellation.
just propping themselves up on the back of Dan Tartaglio.
There you go.
Well, I mean, is it really that hard? So, yeah, I mean, I think Pat's a solid player. I think him in as a 6 seed is a good position for him to be in. I will say this, like, Pat hasn't had the best track record out of the main event, and he has had a second kid recently, so that has taken away some of his playing online. But I do expect Pat to perform well in this event. So it's going to be interesting. Next up after Pat, we have the guy who Charlie Arlinson does not know. But I think
I should
all
have
of us
swapped
know
those
him.
two just for that reason.
I know. I mean, I would love to see Charlie and Mr. Unknown fight it out, But you know what? Mike Turner as a 7 seed is pretty solid.
Yeah, I
Mike, for
like
those who
that.
don't know, he's a solid player. Um, he seems like he has the worst luck, at least from what I've seen. Like he always has something go, one thing happen, and then it just derails his entire event. But
It's because he doesn't play enough green cards. He's got to work on that.
that's a good point. That's a very good point.
No, I'm glad to see Mike here. I think he's a solid player. Makes
Hmm.
interesting decks. I think he'd
He
be hard to
does.
tech.
I will say this. I believe the current iteration of the CCT deck was one of his go-to decks. Uh, so anybody
He
who is,
he and his team did a kind of a video primer
mhm,
on the
there
CCG
you
deck he
go.
played at the MPC, I think last year.
Yep. And I will say this. I love that CCT deck myself. So again, Mike, thanks for creating it. But let's move on onto our 8 seed. Our 8 seed is another member of the new allies, one Sam Tashimi or Tashima.
Sam
So
Tashima.
you might know him as Yoshi on Gimp. Again, a very solid player. We saw some great matches with him in I remember in the Texas Mini Worlds. Was he in he was in either Justin's bracket or Steve's bracket
Hmm.
or pod, and they had some great games. Um,
Yeah, Sam has been always been one of those players who has a lot of potential. I've seen he does get matched up against really hard players. That's the problem.
Yeah, I think Sam is very strong. He's underseeded here, and I would hope for a good showing from him. That means he would play what Joe Olson in round two.
Hmm. Yeah,
is if he gets past Mr. Paul McPherson in round one.
yeah,
You
and he's
know,
our number 9 seed for this event. So
so that's the 8-9 game.
that is the
Yep.
8-9 game. So let's talk a little bit about Paul. Paul McPherson. He plays under, I believe, the P. What is it?
It's P.
P.
McPherson.
McPherson. Yeah, the title under Gemp. He plays interesting decks. I haven't seen him play a lot though, but again, he does play a lot on Gemp. And I think this is going to be a match between two players who do play regularly on Gemp, and I think it's going to be a solid match to watch out for.
Yeah. I mean, I think
So,
it's gonna be a great matchup.
There you
so
go.
moving on, let's talk about our number 10 seed. Uh, Watch out, Mike Turner, because you're going to play Vikram Bali. Vic, who is probably the most well dressed player in Star Wars. I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I mean,
I
I don't know what
mean,
he's gonna be wearing for this tournament, but
yeah, I mean, I can still see Vic in a suit and stuff playing at home, but Vic's a good guy. He does like to play very different decks. He plays like main CC or mains courts a lot. He likes to play um, OA and stuff like that. But uh, Vic's a good guy, and like I said, he's definitely the most well dressed player in Star Wars.
There you go.
Chris, you might be dapper, but you wear a Yankees hat, so that definitely puts you under everybody else. Like, come on, man. Moving on, playing Pat as our 11 seed is Jeremy Jensen.
That's Rambo's on Jump.
Again, I'm not really familiar with him at all, but you guys want to get into him for a little bit?
You know,
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I used to play him a bunch when I was gaming more at like the 4 to 6 a.m. hours when I was up
Mm-hmm.
doing that. Solid guy. I think he used to play a lot of WAP. I mean, I think he's going to give Pat a run for his money.
Yeah. I
And
mean, when it gets to this point, it's kind of tough because there's just two of us trying to rank this, and we're looking at available things, but we don't necessarily have the experience against that player. Where I feel like I have experience against, I would say of this field, probably like 40 of the players or so,
yeah.
right? So I'm pretty good. Uh, I think I'm pretty good at ranking where those people should go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you get into some of these question marks, like Rambo's, I played maybe once or twice, and I couldn't tell you
Yeah.
what happened.
And
Definitely
I
going to
mean,
be a matchup for Pat.
yeah, and I will say again, based on the time zones and everything, again, he is sort of like a player who plays later in the evenings, at least for the East Coast guys. For us West Coast guys, he's almost always on in the afternoon to the evenings and stuff. So, yeah, I think it's going to be, again, this is going to be a matchup between a Gemp warrior versus a more in person type of a player. So, I'm very interested to watch this matchup myself, besides the fact that Pat is a teammate. So, moving on, we got to talk about Bill Kafer's opponent, who is in a 12 seed. And if you're familiar with the NCAA tournament, normally the 12 seeds like to upset the 5 seeds. So, Bill, watch out because you're going to be playing Steven Squarelock.
I I just told you that last time I was a 5 seed, I got upset by a 12. So
Yeah, there you go.
it can happen.
It can.
We have confidence in you.
This is Bill we're talking about. It depends on how many beers he's had.
Hey now.
So let's talk a little bit about Steven, though. Do we know, Bill, do you know his Gemp handle?
I think it's just Squirrellock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can go ahead and pull that up.
Okay, that does sound
Yeah,
familiar.
Squirrellock.
Yeah, again, he's one of those
Yeah,
players that I'm not really familiar with myself, but again, I do see him on a
same.
lot.
Both him and our 13 seed David Dredge. Just I know I've met David before. I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure he came to the MPC in 2019 when we had it then, but I honestly I don't remember playing against either of them. So
Yeah.
this is a good opportunity for me to play some FIDE
There
also.
you go.
So we'll see what happens.
Yep. And again, Chris will be playing David Dredge as our 4 and 13 seed.
Yep.
So let's move on to our East bracket. East bracket will be our number 2 overall seed. Bill, do you want to say who that person is?
I don't know which one you called the East bracket.
That would be the winner of Texas Mini Worlds,
Ah,
Mr. Matt Harrison Trainer.
yeah. So if you were doing this tournament and ranking it by the player that TacoBill, want to face the least is right at the top of the list. He is a fantastic player. I remember watching Texas Mini Worlds. He was matched up against Kessling in the Final 4.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Kessling won the first game by 30, I think,
Yeah.
Right.
or 31. I remember doing commentary for the second game, and I was super excited because I was like, all right, Kessling's going to move on. We're going to have an all-new Allies final.
Yep.
And then Matt just found a way to win that game by
found the way.
31.
As
Just
an ISB versus TRM
Oof.
deck.
Yeah,
and
it was
the
an
game.
interesting match, and it seemed like one that Kessling should have been able to win, but Matt somehow find a way. Really quick, everybody. Again, because I am on a different computer and am on location tonight, please do not post that you are subscribing. It does take a lot of memory from my computer for some reason. I don't know.
You know.
So yeah, MHT is the number 1 seed as our East representing the East bracket. I like him as that. Again, he is a really good player. He's won the event before, and he is making a little bit of a comeback this year and last year. So
we saw him win Texas Mini Worlds. We saw him place. He was, I think, 9th overall at Worlds this year. He's already one of the top players for this year's OCS that hasn't qualified yet. So really, you just can't go wrong there.
Yeah, I think he's got a very broad range of decks that he could pull out. I think looking at what he played at Texas
like QMC.
Yeah, look at what Texas Mini World he played. I think he played a whole different pile of decks, and so he could flip over anything.
Yeah, exactly. But moving on, let's talk about our number 2 seed out of the East bracket, Mr. Jared Napolitano.
Jared again coming off a very good year. I think we talked about this some when we were doing the MPC rankings, but I mean he came off of a runner-up in the MPC last year. He finished 8th overall at Worlds this year, made top 8 at Worlds this year.
Yes.
Qualified for the OCS. Just a very solid player.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I know he likes to play AOBS, and that's like kind of a bad deck, but he somehow makes it work.
You always got to watch out for the folks who specialize in AOBs because it's a super high skill deck.
Whenever you're the only one who plays a deck and it goes undefeated on the weekend, I don't think you can say that about it.
And then of course he plays QMC, and he played it with Ancient Watering Hole and no Pukumir, and I want to say he did well with that as well. So solid player, good guy. Yeah, he top 5 at Worlds. So
Well-deserved spot.
Yeah. Moving on to our number 3 seed, Mr. Adam Taranzo. Adam coming off a top 4 at the MPC. I want to say he also made a top 8 at Continentals back in, was it 2018 or 2019?
That was 2019.
2019 was
Wow,
Continentals.
it just feels so long ago,
It was.
right?
It was just last year. It's fine.
Yeah. So Adam coming in and
Yeah, I
as
mean,
a
Adam's
3
a
seed.
really solid player. Sorry. Anytime I sit down and I see Adam across the table, I know it's going to be a fun game, but then I have a
Yeah.
better chance of losing than I do winning.
Yeah, he beat
He
me last
eliminated
year in the
the
MPC.
MPC this year as well.
Yeah, he beat me at the MPC last year, so actually I'm quite thankful that he did because coming in second at the constellation, not a bad constellation.
Good
That's
result.
what
Yeah. Let's talk about our 4 seed. Our 4 seed, remember, again, is one of those pesky new allies.
yeah. So Drew came back to the game about, I mean, was it early 2020? Was it 2019? I don't remember. But has done nothing but just kind of do well, right? So like
Right.
finished
Just grind.
winning games in the OCS. Did he play in the MPC last year? I don't see his name on here.
I don't remember. I don't
I
think
don't think
so.
he did.
Yeah. Trying to search real quick.
Yeah,
No,
I
he
will
played
say
in
that
Texas Mini
Drew's
Worlds
a good.
last year. He played in Worlds. He played
Yeah.
in.
Finished 12th overall at Worlds last year. Finished
Mhm.
in the OCS top 16 by virtue of the year-long qualifier, I believe.
Yeah. I will also say this though. He did lose in the first round of the MPC.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he
That's been
did.
much.
Okay.
Just putting it out there.
Well, he was in the
Moving.
process of moving and buying a house, so you know how
That's
that
fair.
is.
That's a good point though. So moving
He
on
knows
to our
how that
number 5
goes.
seed is Mr. Nick Reich.
Reich. I'm not
Reich.
actually 100%. Yeah, Nick,
And
again, another qualifier for the OCS in
Mm-hmm.
2019, I believe. Oh, 2020 also, look at that.
Yeah.
2020 qualified in I think March last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Just, again, another solid player. One of the ones that, again, I don't want to sit down against because I'm very likely to lose that game.
It's a good way to rank people.
Yeah.
Does pretty well, has got himself a team this year. He's teaming up with Paul McPherson and Garrett Larson and Derek Jackson as
Okay.
part of that Bro Hug team. I think Batmouse is with them too.
Right.
They're not playing, so
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with that mouse.
another.
Well, it's good that he got someone organized to test and game with. That'll certainly improve his chances of getting a good result.
Yeah.
True. Moving on to our number 6 seed is David Woods.
No reply.
Yeah,
So
David
yeah.
just kills giants is what he does, right? So like,
Mm-hmm.
just he says, "Here's my deck. Come at me. Come beat it."
Made top 16 of the Texas Mini Worlds last year.
Yeah, I believe you eliminated him, right?
He did.
Very rude of you.
Hey now.
Jeez,
Just the
Matt.
cut on Worlds Day 2 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Just a very good overall player.
Yeah.
When you got I think oh yeah, Jokerkin points out he had a very impressive month in the OCS
Mm-hmm.
in March. I think he was on track to qualify until the last couple days of the month. I think he started out 9-0 or something. So
Yeah. I think I remember that too.
those 6 seeds are all kind of just they're coming at you.
They are.
Yep.
But speaking of our next seed, number 7 seed, Jason
Jason Rondo, right? I
Rondo.
don't know how to say it.
Yeah,
I apologize.
I can't say it
Yep.
either. So who is this Jason Rondo?
The
It's
Apollyon.
Apollyon. I don't know how to say that one either.
Yeah.
Another just super solid player. Consistently has winning months in the OCS. I
Mm-hmm.
think both this year and last year started out pretty well.
Plays interesting decks.
Yeah, like that whole group of like 6, 7, 8, 9 is like just a group of solid players.
Okay, speaking of our 8 and 9, we have Edward Chen versus Sean Dixon. So,
Interesting
let's
matchup.
talk a little bit about this. I think honestly, Ed, I think is a little underseed. He made the top 16 of Texas Mini Worlds. He actually won Brian Fred's pod, and he went undefeated in that pod. He beat Brian Fred. I want to say he beat Ryan Saracen as well. So, super solid player.
Yeah. If things hold to form when we start OCS back up in May, I will play a Hitco against his Watto and lose because that happened both in February and March. So I look forward to doing that again in May.
There you go.
Yeah, and then Sean has played in the MPC before back when it was live. I don't know if he played last year or not. I don't quite remember.
He did.
Yeah, because the Pittsburgh crew played that Profit Spaceport Speeders deck.
Yeah. Ran into eventual top 4 Matt Wadden. So
yeah, Sean's a good guy.
Sean got a little bit of a bump this year based on times. So
good to know.
See what he can do. See if he can get past Edward and then also Matt Harrison Trainer. That seems easy.
It's a tall order, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one. Moving on, though, well, let's talk about our next seed, who happens to be Bob Briere.
Bob Briere. Yep. Gornall.
Yep, Gornall. Player out of Colorado, teaming up with the rest of Team High Ground. Potentially a little underseeded here. Again, once we got to like the 10, like the 8, 9, 10 seeds, everything kind of became on based on like where you fit with teams, where you fit with times, and so I had requested a later game, and so that led him to get dropped, maybe a little lower than he should have. So maybe a little underseeded here.
But again, like we said, based on a lot of the scheduling issues as well as some of the teams and stuff, and based on time zones and everything, I mean, it's going to be difficult to set everybody as what they feel like they might want to be, but at the same time, I mean, it happens.
That looks. That's going to be a good matchup between him and Jason.
Yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't be
on. So
surprised
let's talk about
either of them gave Jared a run for his money.
But really quickly, let's move on to Pierre Dubois. I think that's how you say it. Dubois. I know it's Pierre. Pierre, really quick.
He's right there in the chat.
Bring him before me. So, again, one of those solid GEMP players who's almost always on. So.
Yeah, and he's gonna get he gets testing with a lot of the other GEMP guys. I know Brad Reinhold he plays with a lot, so I wouldn't underestimate him either.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, same thing. I used to play him in the same kind of time slot as Rambo's Jeremy Jensen. So I think he'll give David a run for his money.
Sounds like a plan. And moving on, let's talk about our 12 seed, Mr. Jeff Johns.
Yeah, our resident MPC artist, veteran of the MPC. I don't want to say that he's played in all of them, but he's played in a large majority of them.
Yeah, I know he played last year. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, he always plays around.
Yeah, he doesn't always play a ton on GEMP, but he knows the match play championship format. So see what he can do.
There you go.
And coming in as our 13 seed is Adam Raddick.
Yep, goes by Adam CFC on GEMP.
Okay.
He's another guy who I know I've probably played before. I know I see around all the time. I just don't know what to make of him.
Yeah.
He's gonna. I bet you he has played some games against Drew though, because they're always on.
That is true.
playing games. So maybe that gives him a little bit of an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see. I think I played him one game at Worlds.
Who's got the cat?
You got back there? Well,
Okay, according to
mine.
Jared,
Sorry.
he is Australian. So, okay, that is again our East seed.
Oh.
So we shall now move on over into our North seed. Number three overall player. Let's talk about a little bit about this guy. I mean, he might not be the best dressed player, but you know what? He knows how to play cards sometimes. I mean, he's won a major, so I guess anybody else can win a major.
Won
He
this
is
major.
your design advocate,
He's
Mr. Chris Kelly.
a well-deserved spot.
Yeah, he won the MPC 2 years ago, so I mean, he's one of those other returning champions. Actually, our top three seeds are all returning champions. So, kudos.
Hey, we try. Sometimes we get it right. Sometimes it's just by accident.
Right.
Chris Kelly, way overrated. I agree.
No. I think maybe, just maybe, Chris might have the toughest matchup
Yeah,
in the second round. It's either him or Joe.
yeah, I agree.
Because I don't want to play Scott.
Nobody wants to play Scott. But let's take out our number two seed, Greg Shaw. Probably the best. I'd say he's one of the best players that New Allies have.
He's the second best, so that's why he's the number 2 seed.
That's fair. That's a fair point. Greg's won. He won Continentals. He's come in second at Worlds twice.
Right. He knocked me out of Texas Mini Worlds last year.
Mm-hmm. As your teammate. And
he finished 12th or so at Worlds as well. So
yeah. So really solid player. Greg's a great guy, and he's always one of those players. I don't know. Like I don't want to play him because he's so good, but I want to play him because he makes you think, and he's always good to talk to.
And I can confirm that you will get better by playing him.
That's true. Even if he beats you down by 20 to 34, you're still going to learn something. Moving on to
I learned a lot last year from Greg, so
it's
well-deserved seeding.
Yeah, and moving on to our 3 seed overall in the East or the North bracket is Mr. Chris Werfs. Seems like this is the Chris bracket. Like it seems like Chris and Kelly and Chris Werfs are always in the same bracket.
Well, at one point, I think Chris Hull was in the bracket too, and we were really going to make it the Chris bracket. Yeah, I mean, Chris Werfs. I don't even need to say anything. Do I need to?
No.
No, I mean,
great player, plays smart,
great player,
decks.
great guy, plays smart, and I will say this: like, he was part of the Outrider Cup, so he was a linchpin for the Outrider Cup. So I'm looking forward to
for the Outrider Cup. Implemented the TacoBill beard, so bonus points.
There you go. Moving on to our number 4 seed is the runner-up of the MPC, and I believe he also won the Jawa Brawl this year by playing not only the most games, but he also had the most wins. So Mr. Timo Dussel, first off, he's just a great guy to talk to. He does have that not as thick of a German accent as Bastion, but he does have he is very competitive. I'll tell you that.
I mean, he finished day 2 of Worlds this year as well.
Mm-hmm.
For someone who started, I think he said in 2019, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of time on jump, and it definitely shows. So it's a well-deserved spot for him.
And then moving on to number 5, if you're not familiar with him, is Mr. Running Man himself, Matt Lutz.
Hey, that's me.
Yeah, Matt, you had a good year last year. You topped, 8 on the Texas Mini Worlds.
Right.
Yeah, you actually beat Bastion in Texas Mini Worlds. So how many players can actually say that they've beaten Bastion?
I consider that the best day of Star Wars I've ever had. I feel like last year I kind of caught lightning in a bottle. So I've, no comment on my position other than I feel like it's 100% imposter syndrome. And so I'm kind of flattered and appreciate it where I've been placed here.
Yeah, that's
I look forward to
fair.
hopefully getting past Kevin in a rematch versus Timo.
Yeah.
My
I will say
guess is
this
this
year.
is probably the biggest increase in seeds from one MPC to the next, going from a 15 seed last year to a 5.
Oh, he was definitely underseeded last year. Definitely. Moving
Well, it
on
was my
though, let's
first
talk.
major, so it made complete
That's a
sense.
good point. So let's move on to our number 6 seed, Matt Scott. He plays. From Indiana, I believe. He's also a teammate of Brian Fred. He's one of those players. He can go on a run at random times. Like
Yeah,
he plays his decks and he plays them well.
been anywhere in like the 3 to 6 range, and you would have been like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Okay,
He's
talking
coming off
about.
of MPC last year where he upset Joe Olson in the second round, I believe, as an
Oh,
8 seed,
wow.
um, and then beat Chris Gogolin, who was the 4 seed. So definitely, he was the 9 seed even. Jeez,
Yeah,
got that one wrong.
there you go.
So
Moving
Matt,
on
like,
to.
he's one of the toughest to rank because when he plays, he's very good. But I haven't seen him play since probably what, Texas Mini Worlds.
Yeah,
And
it was been a
did he
while.
play in Worlds, Bill? I don't think so.
I don't think
Yeah, I
he
don't
played
think
it.
so either.
No.
Excuse me. Okay, so let's talk about number 17, member of Team High Ground and fellow member of the Holotheatre co-host club, Justin Miyashiro, also known as Jag Tech.
Yeah, again, just a super solid player. Comes from Magic, so still a little bit on the newer side. I remember playing against him. I think it was in the, I don't know if it was Constellation or just random games, but at the 29 MPC, and I didn't know who he was, and he gave me a big run for my money, and I decided never to underestimate him again.
Wise move.
Just hasn't quite put up results yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does it here. I mean, I could see
Mm-hmm.
him winning his first game. I could see him getting past Greg and Chris as well. So
Yeah, he's one of those
Yeah, he's got
players I feel a little intimidated against playing, but we'll see what happens. And we alluded to this earlier, but let's talk about our 8-9. 8 being Scotland Grell, 9 being Rich Kraft.
yep,
this could
I don't
be
know
a
if you got
very
that
good
Rich or
match.
Lawrence, but I always get that wrong for him. But yeah, Rich is a Maryland player. Um, I think it's LR Craft is the
Mm-hmm.
name on there. He upset
Yeah.
Right.
Egg in the MPC, I believe. He won the first month of our Yavin 4 event, going 6-0. And we've got a couple players in that league that are pretty good players.
Yeah.
So it's certainly going to be interesting. And then Scott, I mean, if you didn't have to say anything for Chris Wurst, do you have to say anything for Scott?
Scott plays weird decks. Get ready for mind what you have learned.
Hey
Scott
now.
plays weird decks.
Excuse me.
So I think Scott is poised to go on a run here. I think the style of deck he plays is
Mm-hmm.
going to match up well against Chris Kelly if he can beat Rich, and then potentially maybe a Timo or Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Um, both of them have to kind of prepare for Scott, even though he's the 8 seed.
Yeah, it's funny to just talk about Scott. Like Scott, I want to say was the 8 or 9 seed in the game PC, and he beat Jared Napolitano in the first or the second round. So I
I
want to
think
say he made it all the way to the top 8 and played Timo. So that would actually be another if he can get past Rich and then Chris, and he plays Timo. That would actually be another rematch from the game PC.
Right.
I mean, I promise you, I didn't try to do
Close.
that.
So okay, let's talk about our number 10 seed, who happens to be Garrett Larson.
Yep. Former tournament advocate, now part of the tournament committee. Um, Founding member of Team Brohug with Paul and the rest of them because they just started. Garrett was a great player back in the day. Hasn't
Mm-hmm.
played as much um, recently, but did come back for Worlds this year. Doesn't play a ton on Gemp
Yeah,
between the scene, but I would not doubt his skill.
yeah.
And he showed up to a couple of locals. I mean, since I returned to the game, pre-pandemic. So I wouldn't. I mean, this could be a really good match between him and Justin.
Yeah, I like this one too. I think this is going to be one to watch, and I hope somebody streams it. Moving on to our number 11, Matt Scott versus Zach Stenerson. Again, I'm not
Yes.
100%. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on who Zach is. So let's go to my. Oh, I'm sorry. I misspelled that again. So I did this all last night. Again, I'm house hunting right now, and I was so busy yesterday coming back, and I just had it put together because I knew I was going to be busy today. So again, I'm sorry for any and all misspellings. I'm so sorry.
So goes on Gemp as Do Addict 6. He
Okay.
is a Minnesota guy, right? Or at least a Bespin guy.
Yeah, he's a Bespin guy. I think he's moving back to Wisconsin, or moved back to Wisconsin. He's coming back. I think in June. He's playing in our Bespin league
Okay.
right now, which is 4 games a month. I played him in the first Java Cup we had. So I think I think this is an appropriate seeding for him.
Which Matt he gets. So
Yeah. This is the Matt and Chris bracket.
Oh man, I could have added more Matts. Actually, I don't know if I could.
I don't think so. Just the two
Because
of us
we
here.
could have swapped MHT and Chris Kelly, but no.
Yeah.
We're missing Quick Draw Matt Curley in this event.
Well, he's not playing. So moving
That's
on.
okay.
Speaking of Matt's opponent, Kevin Babb. Again.
Kevin is another local nope, not Maryland. He is a Virginia guy, I believe, but a guy in our Gavin 4 league. Solid player. He's going to play very solid decks, most likely.
Nice. And he'll be playing CRG, so that's going to be interesting. And our number 13 player is John Warner. Again, he'll be playing Timo Dussel. I see John almost all the time on Gemp.
Right.
He's one of those Gemp warriors. So this 5 versus 13 is going to be a straight Gemp warrior match, and you know what? I'm excited for those.
I gotta imagine these guys have piles of games against each other. John's a big hunt down player.
Oh yeah.
I imagine Timo's played him a pile of times. So maybe there's not a matchup on here where they've got more games between the two opponents round one than this one right here.
Yeah. Okay, we've got one bracket left, and this is going to be our South bracket. Our South bracket is headed by probably the best person in all of Star Wars CCG. I don't want to say anybody ever has a problem with this guy. He's your friend, he's my friend, he's everybody's friend. We're talking about the one and only Brian Fred.
Yeah.
I mean, they even named a deck type after him. He's a fun Fred.
Yeah.
I think there's a thread out there how that's not named after him, even though we all assumed it.
It's headcanon now.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah, so Brian Fred, a fantastic year last year. He was the runner-up at Endor. He played in Texas Mini Worlds, I believe, but he didn't get out of the bracket. He did not get an opportunity to play at Worlds. So this is kind of like a what if for him.
Yeah.
But he did qualify for the OCS.
Yeah. I believe he lost to Connor Britton in the first round of the OCS, but yeah, he was not in the right mindset. I know he took off a lot of time from playing after Texas Mini Worlds, and he was going to play in Worlds, but he had to work that weekend, so unfortunately it does happen.
Yeah, I mean, I look forward to him coming back and playing more, and
Yeah,
we got a chance here.
And so moving on to our number 2 overall seed in the South bracket is a player who is also returning to the game. I believe he's won the MPC. I know he's come in second at the MPC. He also came in second a couple of years ago at Worlds. Yes, we're talking about Tom Kelly.
The one guy who plays 1 or 2 decks aside and just plays the hell out of them.
Yeah, and I think you could have flipped Brian and Tom here, and it wouldn't have made a difference. I think the only reason that they did get flipped, I think I did have Tom ranked slightly over Brian, was just because of times.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I
Because
don't think you can go wrong with either of those right there as the
yeah,
number one
no,
seed.
I mean, both these players are insanely good at the game. Like, again, like you said, Brian came in second at Endor last year. Uh, he didn't do. He made the OCS. I think he has an OCS yet, but I could be wrong. But yeah, Brian and Tom are. It's like 1A, 1B. Who do you pick?
Makes
I
sense. Tom beat me at Worlds last year.
Yeah, but
I
I
will
will
say
say this
our list
though.
of players that Taco Bill doesn't want to play is number one MHT and number two Tom Kelly. So
Yeah, yeah. But let's talk about our number three seed. And I'm gonna say this: like our number three seed, I feel is way overseeded here.
Oh,
Really? I don't know. Chris Goglin is a number three seed. Come on. I
the
mean,
man
he
who's
again.
coming up on 100 episodes of uh,
Yeah,
game
this is
review show
true.
and is kind of
This is
the
true.
a
I'll give him
teacher and
that.
one of the faces of the game. I think 3 is just
He's
fine.
also a Hall of Famer, so I mean, he does get a boost there. But again, he lost to an eight seed in the MPC.
He also
sometimes
won the MPC
we
last year,
see, sometimes we don't.
2020.
I know, I know. I just gotta give him. I gotta give him. But I'm just saying, he did lose in spectacular fashion. I'm just saying.
That's a Hall of Famer you're talking about here.
Yeah, yeah, that's
There
true.
you
Good
go.
point.
It's good. He'll
Let's
have
talk
an
about.
interesting match when he in the second round between
Oh yeah,
Wayne or
I'm
Casey.
excited to see this one. Moving on though, let's talk about our four seed. Four seed is Brad Kipple.
Damn. Sorry.
Brad, who is a really good player, he's made it to the OCS. He's made it to top 16 at Texas last year. So I think as a four seed, that's a pretty solid placement for him.
Yeah, Brad is that same list we're talking about, that where MHT is one, Tom Kelly is two. It will surprise you to know that Brad is three, just because I don't think I've ever beaten him ever. He played a decent amount. And
It's good.
always, like when I was a kid, right? I 16-year-old Bill playing Star Wars cards. I always looked at like the players who were better than me with the same name or the same
Hmm.
initials. Brad Kipple has always been above me.
That's fair.
There you go.
Let's talk about our
Very
number
fair.
five seed. Five seed is out of SoCal, one Ryan Jelson. Ryan, who him and his wife came out victorious last year at the team tournament. Uh, I know he hasn't really won an event. I know he came. I want to say he top four in the MPC 1 year, but I think Ryan is one of those. One, he's just an insanely creative deck player. He knows what he likes. He doesn't like sack, so if you like sense alter control, you might have a little bit of a leg up on him. But he is an extremely creative guy, and he always seems like one of those players who you just don't want to under.
Right.
You don't want to underlook him. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, great player. I finished
Hmm.
17th at Worlds this year.
Yeah.
Um, Playing stunning move of all decks.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
an excellent meta call in a deck that was a meta that was expecting Watcher Step.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I played him and he was handily beating me and just ran out of time. So
Yeah.
I think he's an excellent player. He's on design. He's super creative, and I would not want to be Derek Jackson trying to figure out what to play against him.
No, I agree. Uh, and let's move on to our number six seed, the man, the myth himself, Wayne the Great, Wayne Cullen.
Wayne the Giant Killer.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
We always talk about how Wayne like always ends up as an 8 or 9, always ends up playing against the number one. So Wayne has been
Yeah.
bumped up this year to a
To a
6.
six. And I mean, I think Wayne is always one of those players. Like he did really well in the MPC. He made it to I want to say the top 16, losing to Adam Trunzo. But yeah,
I mean,
I like Wayne's chances.
made top 8 of the MPC last year after getting by Chris Kelly and Adam Trunzo.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so he just said in chat he doesn't know what he's going to do. Not playing against number one, so
Yeah. Well,
Gonna
just think
play
of
solid
just
decks and
think of
make good
just.
choices. That's what
I
he'll
know
do.
this is hard, but think of Chris Goglin as a 1 seed. You'll be fine. Let's talk about our next seed, our number 7, James Martin. Solid snack.
yep.
Got a little hyperdrive player.
Yeah, hyperdrive. He likes
He's a good
hyperdrive,
player.
and
Yeah, he made day
You've
2 of
seen
Worlds with that this year.
mm-hmm.
Yep. And played it at Day 2 Worlds. Right?
That's got guts.
Where are you at?
Playing against my podcast co-host too.
Yeah,
So
and
this,
that's
I
true.
think
We'll talk
that'll
about
be an interesting
let's talk
matchup
about
of
Kendall
just like
here in a second because I got a lot to say about Kendall.
Oh boy.
I think that'll be a. I mean, we've seen other games on here where that we could see some really off meta stuff like Scott versus Rich Kraft. But I think this might be maybe the most off meta round 1 game
I can
we can
see that.
see.
I can really see that.
Unless Kendall rolls out court with
Yeah,
Jabba
that's
Space
true.
Cruiser and
But this is Kendall we're talking
laser
about.
cannon batteries, that kind of shenanigans.
This is Kendall we're talking about. But let's talk about our 8 and 9 seed, Justin Curley versus Brandon Beatty. I'm gonna say this. I think Justin is definitely underseeded. I want to say he came in. He was like the 9 or 10 seed at Worlds a couple years ago when Bastion won his second one. He was barely on the cusp, losing to I forget who we lost to.
I don't remember he lost the playing game, right?
Yeah, he lost to Solucci. So, and then the following year he made it to like the top 16 at Worlds. So, Justin's a really solid player. It's always hard to pick between the Carulis. Like one year Justin's hot, next year Matt's hot. So, we'll see what happens.
We did have a running joke, I would say, from like 2016 to 2018 about like which Caruli is the better Caruli. We always get it wrong.
That's very right. I wish Matt was playing in this, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's true. Like I remember this only because after Continentals in 2019 for Worlds we did a pick'em league. Joe Olson all put it together and everything, and I ended up with both Carulis, and you had to start 3 or 4 players. I started the wrong Caruli. So, but he's playing against Brandon. Brandon is a solid player. He does play a lot on Gap. Everybody knows Brandon as he's currently doing the documentary on the game. So, but he does play himself. He does play the game. So, I think this is going to be a very interesting match. Brandon does play a little bit more on Gamp than Justin, but at the same time,
all these 8-9 matches. I mean, I wouldn't want to be either of them.
No, I agree.
Justin has that secret Gamp admin account though, so he'll know what.
That is true. That is 100% true. And I hope he doesn't play on Gamp like he does with fantasy football. But moving on to our next seed, who is Kendall Hallman. Kendall again playing James. Kendall likes his 12-card throne room and his court, so he has gone on record saying that those are his go-to decks. So will we see something different? I mean, I know that Matt, he's your co-host for the Bad Deck Breakdown. So
yep.
What do you think?
Kendall's been posting publicly in in Slack about what should he play if he's expecting his opponent to put him on court for dark side. And the suggestion back from Mr. World Champion Joe Olson was play Hunt Down. He's played Hunt Down in the past kind of casually. Like I said earlier, I think this matchup is going to be the most off meta match we're going to see of round 1.
Yeah. And
I don't know, guys. Kendall didn't ask me for a deck, so I don't. You can imagine where that's going.
Yeah, and interesting is Kendall he just made up a team, so he's got players to go to.
Yep, he's got Joker King and some others to bounce ideas off of.
Yeah, and again, Joker King's no slouch, so it's going to be interesting. But moving on to our number 11 seed, I believe. Yes, our number 11 seed is Casey Johnson.
Yeah, another Virginia player. I saw Joe Olsen did his Worlds tournament report, his first two games were against Casey, and you could
Mm-hmm.
see like Casey was just playing super solid, and
Yeah.
not but for one or two mistakes, Joe might have been eliminated pretty early.
Yeah. And Joe might have not have gotten his world championship.
Yeah,
It,
and I've played him
maybe.
a couple of times. He's Maul 1985 on Jump.
Yeah.
Could be a very super solid um, round one game of
Mm-hmm.
with a good difference in the seedings.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to our number 12 seed is Derek Johnson. I forget what his name
Derek
is.
Jackson, not
Rick
Derek Johnson.
Jackson.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
his Jump name is DJ Jackson. I don't think I've ever played against him.
I was gonna say I played against him recently in the retro event. Uh, he played Mind What You've Learned. I played Bring Him Before Me. I know this is the retro event, so it doesn't really give any information. Super solid player. Like I was nervous most of the game, but one small mistake kind of just killed it. But I do like this match. I will say this, Derek, get ready for something weird against Ryan.
He's got that team behind him though, so part of that Brohook team to help him out.
Okay, and then we got our
Yeah, that'll
14
help.
seed for this one is Winston Plunkett.
Winstop.
Winstop, yeah, Winstop
Yep.
P, yeah. So
Winston
Yep.
P. Winston.
yeah, again I haven't played against him myself, but he is always on Gemp, so uh, I it could be he could have a good round. We'll see.
So
Yeah,
I think that's everyone, Bill. How
Yeah.
has, other than the buys, how do you think that this bracket looks different than like a year when we've got 64 players like last year?
I think the group that we were missing this year was kind of top heavy.
Okay,
So like I said, there was probably I think 7 people in contention for a 1 seed this year. I think I said,
Hmm.
in my opinion at least.
right.
Yeah,
Um,
I could have seen it.
Usually that number's a little higher. We have a little bit more difficulty, so kind of that 2 to 4 range of player is kind of
Hmm.
missing. But what that does is bump up that next range.
Okay.
Gotcha. I was going to ask, like, normally these things get broken out into there's the clear top seeds, your one, two, threes,
Right.
and then there's your clear like 14, 15, 16 folks who this
Hmm.
might be their first NPC, and then there's that mushy middle
Yeah, and I
Mushy
with
think
middle.
this should go
everyone else.
for a mushy middle.
Yeah, that makes good
Okay.
sense.
But no, I'm going to be excited. We'll talk more about this next week, obviously. Uh, we are almost getting close on time and everything, but so let's really quickly go through our normal business really quick. Uh, Let me get to it really quick. Again, I am on a different computer, so again, everything's gonna be a little wonky tonight. Uh, Again, after the MPC, we have the Jawa Brawl starting in June, Nationals in July. We are still waiting to hear about if it's going to be in Colorado or not. And then again, Worlds is in October. Right now, Worlds is scheduled to be in Washington. I'm excited for that. I know it's Bill is right around the corner for you. Hopefully, I'll be back in Pennsylvania, so it should be right around the corner for me.
I do want to mention for a couple people, if you're looking at flights into Worlds, you should look at booking into Reagan Airport rather
Mm-hmm.
than Dulles. If you do come into Dulles, we'll find a way to get you, or even like Baltimore would work. We'll find
Yeah,
a way to get you, but Reagan is going to be right near the hotel.
Good to know.
awesome. That is great to know, Bill. Thank you. Again, if you the NPC will be starting here shortly. It does start. It's really quick. It is in
10 days.
two weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, we just
It's
went
not a
over the
lot of time to
bracket.
fret over your opponents.
No, you got 2 weeks, everybody. Looking at, I'm sorry, but my is being a little slow. I'll just move this
Okay.
out. Well, uh, Justin Desai is currently undefeated in the retro event with 3 players currently at 9-1. Hayes, Joe Olson, and Bastion. No real surprises there. I mean, there are a lot of players who are also still. I know Batmouse is currently sitting at 7-1. That's a huge surprise to me. So you still got a little over. You got 17 days until this event is over. So if you haven't gotten to your 10 games, get those in every. Again, and really quick,
lots of folks
this
who haven't played a game yet either, too.
that's true. I know I'm sitting at 4-2. I'm nervously like trying to get some games in. Again, this month's deck building challenge for those who are interested in this is to see how many number of aliens you can get on the table. We've had one submission so far. It is from BSF. He currently has 15 aliens on the table. Now his opponent is showing 16, but his opponent didn't win the game. So
There you go.
again, please get those game in, buddy. I want to see more than one person submit onto this deck building challenge.
I tried, but I only have 9, so
Well, why?
it's pretty good.
I can't submit playtesting games, and
That is very true.
very true. I lost that game anyway, so my opponent had all the aliens.
Okay, there we go. One other piece of maintenance to go over. Last week, I did show off some prizes that we were going to be making for Holotheatre. Unfortunately, legal and marketing came down and slapped my wrist. So, official statement from our marketing advocate, Mr. Jared Napolitano. The price support announced last week will be executed as a different manner so that to still recognize the contributions of the co-hosts. Guests who have helped with the show, but it will not utilize Decipher Star Wars CCG cards. More details will follow when the prize are refined. So, per the agreement between Lucasfilms, Decipher, and the PC, we are not able to alter Decipher cards, and a lot of those are Decipher cards. I know, like, Chris wanted to be on Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight. Well, that's a Decipher card. We're going to make some cool stuff. Don't worry, everybody. I have a lot of good mind. We can use some the PC created images, the B cards. We're also thinking about like some foil stickers that you can put on the cards if you want to. But believe me, we are going to have something cool for everybody. Once we have those, I will be sure to show those off.
Good to hear.
So we got one last thing. Are you ready, Bill?
Oh, we're still doing this. All right.
We're still doing this. You gotta earn a prize.
I look forward to Dan picking this, and I don't know what it is, and me having no idea what it is as we show it off to our guest here.
The cat's gonna come help.
There you go.
Okay. Considering the amount of damage you've sustained, they must have been destroyed. Would you like to know if it is a type or what set?
You've sustained. They must have been destroyed. I want to know what type it is.
Okay, now give me 1 second, okay?
Oh.
The only reason is I forgot which one it is, because again, I made this last night. I know what set it's from.
Would you? I have. Well, you want to know the type of it?
I want to know the type of card it is.
It is an effect.
It's an effect. You say effect. It's an effect.
Where it is a.
Actually, you know what? Hold on. 1 second. I can actually look at my desktop because it's on my desktop. You're right. It is an effect. It is 100% an effect.
Okay. Do I get to know light side or dark side or no?
No, you don't.
All right. So I will tell you my first 2 guesses, which I have already eliminated because it's an effect, are Asteroids Do Not Concern Me and Rogue Asteroid. So I'm gonna go with. I don't even know what other cards are asteroid related. Oh man. I'm gonna go with Lost Relay.
Is that your final answer?
I think that's a card. Yeah, sure. Let's go with
that. Bill, I'm sorry, but you're going to be kicking yourself.
Oh, is it Asteroids Do Not Concern Me?
No, it's Rogue Asteroid.
Ah,
which is a mobile
effect.
Being the sub.
That's why I said effect 7 times.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Well, once again, our guest knew it and I didn't, so
well,
good job.
I mean, Bill didn't know it,
I think
but
it being a mobile effect and me telling him it's the type is an effect, which is true, but we think of it the
well,
subtype as
okay.
a
I mean,
mobile effect.
yeah, subtype is a mobile effect because I
Give
mean,
it
there's
to him.
immediate effects, there's
Give it to
Houdini
him.
effects, mobile effects.
Of any kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
Okay,
job, Bill.
everybody. Well, we went. Unfortunately, we went a little bit over on time because we did have a lot to go over tonight. Next week's we're gonna miss, and it's a hit. We'll be back. I'm also trying to be getting all the advocates on, so I'll let everybody know if that's possible. We're trying to do a Ask the Advocates. I would love to get all of them on, so you can go just ask them anything you want. If you want to know when the next set's coming out, if you want to know what the marketing team's doing, if you want to know what the heck special projects is. Matt needs a new name. We're going to try and get the advocates on, everybody, so that way you can ask anything you want. So until next week, when I'm back in California, take care, everybody, and we'll see everybody then. Good night, and